All right, this is Math 1. We're talking about section 1.6, graphing using slope-intercept. Your homework is right here. You might want to write that down. Textbook, page 32, 1 through 26, page 41, 1 through 12. There are some problems in the workbook, but that's your homework. You might want to go ahead and write that down. In review, okay, we talked about standard form. We talked about graphing using intercepts. Standard form, write this down. Standard form is AX plus BY is equal to C. This is best graph using X and Y intercepts. Best graph using X and Y intercepts. Okay? So if it looks like AX plus BY is equal to C, like we did for homework, okay, section 1.4, then it's best graph using X and Y intercepts. An example of that would be 2X minus 5Y is equal to 10. What is the X intercept? You ought to be able to look at it and tell me the X intercept. What is it? 5, right? You cover that up and get 5. What is the Y intercept? -2, okay? So on my graph, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I put a dot right there. Y-intercept's -2, I put a dot right there, and there's my graph. So the easiest way to graph it, when it's in standard form, is X and Y intercept. Okay, that's a note card. That's something that you need to study. Okay, when it looks like this, here's your example. And that is by far the easiest method. Not the only method, but it is the easiest. So now, let's talk about graphing using slope-intercept form. Well, first of all, we need to know what slope-intercept form looks like. I know you got all this in 8th grade, but I'm going over it again to make sure that we're all on the same page. Slope-intercept form looks like this. Y equals mx plus b. You got letters in there. We need to talk about what they mean. Y equals mx plus b. What does the M stand for? Slope. Very good. Slope is the rise and the run of the line. Okay, how far does it rise as it runs? How far does it fall as it runs? It can be positive or it can be negative. Okay? The saying that we always say with slope is always rise over run. Write that down. M is the number in front of the X. It's attached to the X. It is always rise over run. It can be positive or it can be negative. B, on the other hand, what does it stand for?
Y.
Very good. Y-intercept. Okay, where it crosses the Y-axis. It is also what we do first. Okay, in our when we're doing one of these problems, the first thing we're going to look at is the Y-intercept. That's the first thing that you're going to plot. Don't do the slope first. Okay, so put a little first like this, and then put second like that. First, you do the Y-intercept. Second, you do the slope. Questions so far? Anybody have any questions so far? So we're ready to do an example. Here's our first example. Y equals 3x minus 2. Nice, easy numbers. Nice and small, ready to go. Y equals 3x minus 2. What's the first thing we're going to do? We're going to graph our Y-intercept, and then what? Well, how do we graph -2 Y-intercept? Go down 2 and put a dot. Okay? 1, 2, and we put a dot. There's our Y-intercept. Y-intercept, which we just got done talking about, is -2. Okay? There it is. We plotted it right there. The Y-intercept is -2. All right? Now what? Here's where students make a mistake. Next, second step is to go to the slope. A common mistake is to go back to the origin and start from the origin and work down to or right to up. Don't go back to the origin. Okay, when you're doing the slope, you start at the Y-intercept. Okay, in this case, what is the slope? It's 3 over 1. Right? We change 3 into 3 over 1. That tells us, here's 3 over 1. What does that tell us to do? Don't say over. We do what? We go up 3, and then what do? And we go right. How do we know up and right? Where do those words come from? Why are they up and right instead of down and left? They're positive. Very good. 3 over 1 is the same as negative 3 over negative 1, isn't it? I could make both of those negatives. So instead of up and right, what could I do? I could go in the other direction. I could go down and left. Okay? So let's plot these points and see what we get. We start here, okay, and we go up 3 and right 1. Up, 1, 2, 3, and we go to the right 1 and we put a dot. I can continue going in that direction if I wanted to. I can go up 3 more, 1, 2, 3, and to the right 1. I can continue, and these dots would be all the way out, forever and ever. Okay? But most of the time, what I want you to do is, I want you to do 1 point in one direction and 1 point in the other direction. You can do 2 points in the same direction. But what I'd rather see, what I'd like you to get in the habit of doing, is 1 in one direction, 1 in the other direction. Okay? So if I went up 3 and right 1, what do I need to do now? Down 3 and then what? Left 1. Should your points line up in a straight line? That's common sense, but I mean, guys, sometimes you'd see points and they look like a triangle. Your points need to line up in a straight line. Am I done? Am I done with this? What do I need to do? You draw a line, and then, Marlo, I heard you say it. What do I need to do? Arrows. You need to put arrows on the end. What do the arrows symbolize? Great. That it keeps going on and on and on and on and on forever. Okay? They don't ever stop. A common mistake, guys, is I see this right here all the time, and I have to mark it wrong. A line segment. They got their 3 points, but they connect them, and then that's it. Okay? Don't do that. Don't make it a line segment. Always put your arrows. Write it down. Always put arrows. Okay? How are we doing on time?
2:45.
Write this down also. Minimum of how many points? 3. Minimum of 3 points. Anytime you're graphing using slope-intercept form, you must have a minimum of 3 points. You can have more, but you must have a minimum of 3 points. Okay? We're going to do another example. Everybody's got all this written down. Question? This is just slope-intercept form. With intercepts, it's okay if you just have 2 points. That's a great question. All right, I'm going to erase this and do another example. We've got 2 special cases. All right, so here we go. Y equals negative 2 over 3x plus 2. Okay, first step, what do we do? Anybody? Plot your y-intercept, which happens to be what? 2, which means from the origin, 0, 0, what do I do? I go up 2. Here we go. 1, 2. Put a dot. Okay, go ahead and put a dot. Up 2 and put a dot. Okay? From there, what do I do? What is my slope in this case? Negative 2/3, which tells me to go do what? Here's negative 2 over 3. What does that tell me to do? Down 2 and what? Right 3. The opposite of that would be what? Up 2 and left 3. Those are my 3 points. I've already got my 1 point. If I do that and I do that, I'll be good to go. Okay, so here we go. Down 2 and right 3. 1, 2, 3. You put a dot. Down 2 and right 3. In the other direction, I would go up 2 and left 3. And there would be my point right there. Nice straight line, arrows on the end, and you're done. Tic-tac. Questions? Could you go right 3 and then down 2? That's fine. You would still end up, watch. If I go right 3, 1, 2, 3, and down 2, I still end up at the same place. Okay, questions? Any questions on this one? Got it all?